Hello everyone, I'm Debbie Polachek. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to be showing you tips and tricks how to use these layered stamps. What I mean by layered stamps is the sets that have three different, like this would be the highlight area, this would be the mid-tones, and this would be the low tones of that flower. So this is what we're going to be going over today. And so I'll be teaching you tips to how to prepare to do the stamping and how to choose the colors to do the stamping. Let's get started. Our very first step is to make sure all the ink pads that we have are nice and juicy. We don't want a dried out ink pad. Let me show you, for instance, how that would look. Because when I was doing mine, I realized that I had a lot of ink pads that need to be rejuiced. See my Calypso Carl? See how dry it was? And when I juiced it up, see how it looks then? So if any of our pads need to be inked, we need to do that. That's the very first step. The next step is to make a chart of all your different ink pads. Do is use a half a piece. I'm going to just use a piece of very inexpensive cardstock to do this. I just want it to be white. Let's go ahead and use that little flower because that might be more easier for us to see it. And then there's another good reason to do this is because sometimes when you stamp, you may, if you have a limited amount of stamps, you might not have a light tone and a medium tone and a dark tone of the same color family. So you might have to do what they call next generation stamping. So let's go ahead and do that with each color. I'm going to start off with my lightest color. So I'm going to line up all my colors, and the first one I'm going to do is stamp it, come back and rejuice it, and stamp it again. Okay, the next color or the shade, I'm going to stamp it just one time. Then I'm going to go down another time and stamp it again. So that would be the second generation stamping. You would want to continue to do that with every color you have. Be sure you clean your stamp in between each color so you can get the truest color of what that color is. Also, it would be a good idea to go ahead and print the name of the color on top of each of the stamps. Now we have all of our samples done. I have them, I did laminate mine. If I was thinking, I could have gone ahead and put my markers to here too, because all these little samples do come in handy later on when you're making cards, and when you've got your designer series paper in here, it's a lot easier if you have all the colors that you know what they are. It just helps. Okay, but on this instance right now, we know that we have 3 levels of darkness for the same flower. But yet, this is not very dark in between these two. I've noticed that. The generation off is very much lighter, but this one and this one's not that much difference. But if you take the color wheel, this would help you get some darker tones. For instance, you have a red flower. Okay. And you want, on this particular stamp set, this is so much bigger than this is here or this is here. So the main color you're going to see is your lightest color. Now, do you want your lightest color to be this kind of washed out color version of this? Or would you rather it be this and get darker as you go? Now to me, those look better to get darker as you go. From what I used on my projects, it was definitely better to use the full strength. So I know now that, now if you don't have all these colors, you don't have a choice. You have to go from the lightest to the darkest. But just like anything else, there's more than one way to skin a rabbit. So continue to watch the video to see how it's done. Help you make your decisions. Let's say you've got this paper here. Now, okay, so we definitely want a red flower. Okay, so we want our flowers on the inside of our flower to be the lightest color, which may be a red. We want the poppy red to be the lightest of the reds, okay? So we'll have to go from poppy red to maybe cherry red and even black for the inside of it. I think that would be pretty with this paper. Let's try that. We're going to try with the poppy red, the cherry red, and black. Okay, so we start off with the poppy red because we want our flower to be red. We know that. We don't want it pink with that paper. We want it red. So we're going to start off with this one. Then we go to our cherry red. Then we can go to our black. Now, those are one way to do it. Okay, now let's say we have the real red and the black, or the poppy red, only the poppy red, the black. What can we do? Well, one thing we can do to get that third color in there is go opposite the color wheel, which opposite the color wheel, we got red, yellow, and blue. Red and yellow makes orange, blue and yellow makes green, and blue and red makes purple. So we got a red flower, and if we go opposite the color wheel, green, we can get a darker value of that red. So let's add a green. So let's say we got our poppy going here. Now, since we don't have a darker version of red, we'll add the green. And I'm going to go with an old olive. It's a nice kind of a true green. So we're going to add that green to here. Now we're going to come back with our black. Now, as you can see, it's a little different, but it works either way. Now let's see what it looks like with our cardstocks that we picked. Either one works nice, doesn't it? So you could go this way or this way, either one. Okay. Let's say, now these, all the paper is going to be real similar, so really can't do much with that. And I'll go to some old cardstock here. Let's say I wanted to put some flowers around my paper here. Okay. It looks like the lightest color in this It's probably Petal Pink. Yeah, Petal Pink. And yet we have a red here too. So we got two colors already done for us. So here we go with our Petal Pink. We're going to use that one first. Now, do we want the real red to be our darkest color? Maybe. But what we have learned in our project here, if we stamp off, that might work, huh? Real red. That probably would not work. We can see from there that those two probably would not work. So we, according to our paper here, we could go ahead and go with red and then maybe use the cherry cobbler on the inside if we had the cherry cobbler. If we don't, we would have to go back to the green again. So let's go with our second color as real red. We'll go ahead and use the cherry cobbler, or we could use even our black. Our black would probably go good with this. What would go good with this? Actually, that's far enough, really, for that flower. So let's go ahead, since it is far enough, let's go ahead and do our red. We'll double do our red here. Because I don't think of anything else that would be prettier with this paper than just another double stamped of the red, and that will help a little. I think that will be real pretty with that. Okay, let's go with a third piece of paper. Let's go with a different color altogether. We go with the purples here. Okay, so knowing that this is the biggest part of my flower, and if I want that to be that gorgeous grape color, well, that's what I would go for. But maybe I want it to stand off of it a little bit. If I was on this side of the paper, I would go maybe with Highland Heather as the lightest color. And maybe the next color will be gorgeous grape. And why not even put the green on the inside? So here we got, see the paper right there tells us what to use. So we would need Highland Heather. We're going to put our flower here. And let's make sure that on our deal that would work. Highland Heather, gorgeous grape. Yes. And then the green. Which green would we use? Let's go with even a darker green. Here we go. Looks like that garden green would be good. Even the, yeah, let's go with the garden green. So now we know that we want the first color to be Highland Heather, the second color to be gorgeous grape, and the third color to be garden green. Okay, here we go with our Highland Heather. Gorgeous grape. And our garden green. There we go. Now our flowers coordinate with all this. I'm going to go ahead and cut these out, and we're going to lay the paper on top of it to see what they look like. Okay, there's our gorgeous grape on top of that color. Now you might want to be like this would be a border, and then have maybe even white underneath here. You know, you'll have to pick out your colors that you would want to coordinate with that. Like this is looks like real red. Maybe a little bit too dark. The Poppy Parade. See how that would go together now. You could build your flowers even with some of the doilies or anything else that you can get to help bring things together. Ribbon. There's normal things that you might even have that will help bring a card together. Now if I was to do maybe a card base, I would use the grape or the Highland Heather as my card base, and this is an accent color. Maybe just a thin strip of this overlapping both the colors. And then if you add the green leaves inside of there too, that would bring it all together. Even in some pinks, maybe a pink flower, little pink flowers within there. This stamp set has lots of different types of flowers. Okay, so that would work for that. Okay. This is the flower that goes on our puppy. Cute, cute, huh? Again, you might want to put some white along this, or pick up some of the grays, or let's try gray. This is a basic gray. That pops out pretty nice right there. Yeah, see the basic gray and then the red. And if it was too dark, they have the lighter grays. This just kind of looks like a totally different gray than it's on the paper. So that probably wouldn't work. But anyway, even this Sahara sand might pick up the color of that dog and work. Okay, so that looks nice. Okay. This time we only have a little bitty piece of this one. So what would we do? This is the real red with it. Looks pretty good right there, real red. Let's see how white looks with it. It's kind of grungy. So our card base would be white. A little accent. I think that would work. So anyway, that's how you can work with your colors along with your stamp sets, and I hope this helps you. And if it does, please give me a thumbs up, and I sure thank you for stopping by. Bye bye.